Hey guys, Rojimbo here, and today I just wanted to do a quick little comparison between two California legal auto knives. Um, this is the Microtech UTX-70 CA, so the California legal version, blade length of I think 1.8 or 1.9 inches, so under 2-inch blade length. And then this here is the Kershaw Launch 4 automatic, and that also has a just shy of 2-inch blade length. And I'm not going to do a whole lot of cutting or testing of this guy, the Kershaw, because I'm actually giving this as a gift. So I'm actually about to go give it as a gift in like an hour. So I gotta shoot this video quick, and just figured it would be a shame to have this in my hands and not show you guys the comparison. So the reason I'm buying this for a friend of mine is because I absolutely love having a tiny 2-inch auto just on me. This Microtech, I don't know if you guys have seen the original video shot back in December when I got this, so about 3 months ago. This knife has been on me every single day, and it's so nice to have just the speed of being able to have a quick, tiny little knife that just instantly, rends apart anything that needs cutting. Because honestly, most of the time I'm not cutting up anything like wet or messy, which is, not something you'd really want to be doing with one of these autos that are out the front like this, because you can't really get in there and clean it very easily. But for just cutting open tape on packaging, breaking open a box real quick, most of the things that I need to do, this thing really, it's been used for a lot, and it's so fast, boom, cut, and it's away, and it's so lightweight, and so small and non-offensive. That's the other thing. I kind of thought when I first got this, out the front auto, I'm going to show this to people, and there's going to be a little bit of fear. Oddly enough, even though it's an out the front and it makes that awesome, snap noise, people are not afraid of this just because it's an under 2-inch knife. So I figured, well, I would like to get a really cool knife, something that's going to be appreciated for a friend of mine. And so I thought, obviously this guy, the UTX, this thing came in around like 250, whereas these guys, these Kershaws, are only like $75. It's kind of hard to believe. I mean, obviously there's a lot of differences. So this is, let's get into those differences. This is not an out the front. It is an automatic, but it's a push button like that. So still very nice action, and it's got some good recoil to it. It feels like solid when you push that button. And then to close it, the locking mechanism, it's kind of like a plunge lock. So you push the button, and now you're able to shut it. So, you can even open this thing slowly if you really needed to by holding the blade and just opening like that. It's not an incredible amount of force, so it's not that difficult to do it like that, because you're basically overcoming that spring every single time you close the knife. It's the same spring that keeps it open as you're rewinding when you push it in. But what I really liked about these Kershaw autos, at least from looking at them online, was obviously the look is quite nice, right? You got this nice like blacked out, machined aluminum body with a kind of a really nice, very minimal, almost like coffin style, symmetric handle. Just that nice little bit of red for the launch button there. Fully blacked out blade as well, and also the steel you'll see right here. That's CPM 154. So I mean that's that's pretty crazy stuff, right? I mean, you're getting powdered steel at $75 in an automatic knife, U.S. made. It's just there's a lot to love, and again, also a very nice look about it as well. Just a really good aesthetic. So I figured this would be a nice gift to receive, something that you're going to be able to use every day. And I haven't done any cutting with it because, again, I don't want to give somebody a knife that I've already done a bunch of cutting with, but it feels sharp. I don't think they're going to have to be sharpening it up again anytime soon, especially with that nice steel. So yeah, very attractive knife, for a number of reasons. I actually bought two of them, so but they're both being given as gifts, so I can't play with them. But I do think in the future I may pick one up. So like let's do a little comparison, because I was hoping, part of the reason that I was buying this Kershaw launch was because I wanted to give a really lightweight knife. And a really cool knife as well. So it's definitely got the cool factor, and it is actually quite lightweight. I put it on the scale, and it comes out to 55 grams, which is 1.94 ounces. So you're just shy of 2 ounces here. But 1.94, that means you're almost at 2 ounces. 2 ounces is, I mean, it's a lightweight knife, but if you know the ultra lightweight knife game, 2 ounces is not exactly the lightest weight knife out there. You compare it to something like this, the Microtech. This guy comes in at 34 grams, and that's 1.19 ounces. So this thing is just over 1 ounce, as this is just shy of 2 ounces. So I mean, you can do the math. The other thing too is take a look at the thickness. This launch is quite a bit thicker. It's more akin to a normal pocket knife. Let's see, let's compare it to something. It's nowhere near something like an Emerson thickness. Let's get it more under the camera. Yeah, so you can see it's a little bit thinner than that. Yeah, including the clip, it's about the same thickness as like your Emerson. But then you compare something like the Microtech, and this thing is just so thin. Let me give you some actual dimensions, and you can kind of you can gain a little bit more knowledge on it. So let's see what's helpful for you. Millimeters. Let's actually go inches, because I think that'll probably be a little bit easier for people. So you're looking at a half an inch on. Well, okay, so 0.46 on like the thickness of the actual knife. If you include the clip, you're talking about 0.63. So yeah, kind of a little chunkier compared to the Microtech. 0.32 on the actual body and 0.449, so under a half inch including the clip. So it definitely is a little bit chunkier. Overall length on these guys, Microtech 3.53 overall, and this guy actually I think comes in a little smaller because you don't have that glass breaker, and I think there's just less internals. 3.15. So you save a little bit of length in that dimension, if that matters to you. Blade lengths, let's just take a peek at those. We're looking at yeah, I think 1.84, maybe it's 1.9, probably 1.9. It's a little bit hard to measure. Let's see on the Kershaw. It is pretty damn similar. Maybe a little bit longer by a gnat's ass, 9.2 or something. So very similar blade length. Obviously notice that the Microtech has a much narrower blade. Let's take a look at the blade stock. I didn't even think to look at that. Blade stock is 0.12 on the launch. And we got 0.08 on the Microtech. So a much thinner blade on the Microtech. So this does seem like it might be a little more of a slicer, but if you look at how the grind on this is quite a bit taller, it might even out. You never know, because this being a more narrow blade doesn't have quite as far, quite as tall of a grind. I mean, it's fairly close, not a whole lot of difference. But you can take a look here about the blade stock. So, a fair bit of difference there. I will say, this is a knife that I would feel more comfortable doing hard work with than this. This is kind of your gentleman's, packing tape dismantler, and this is kind of a do-anything knife. It's really, really solid in all dimensions, the lockup, versus something like this, inherently there's a little wiggle because it's an out the front. That's just, you can't get away from that. So, this is a more hard use knife for sure. Microtech does come with a glass breaker, which is nice. And while we're kind of looking at glass breakers and clips and such, let's talk about the clip. That is one thing that, if you're a deep carry fanatic, take a look. You got about that much sticking out versus about that much sticking out. And then also just from a style perspective, if you're a knife guy, what's this look like? It looks, I don't know. It looks nondescript. It looks like a knife or something. What does this look like? I mean, I can just tell you already, like, here, let me pull a piece of my sweater out here. This is what it looks like when I'm walking around with this thing. Oh, shit. Does that dude have a Microtech? I mean, you can tell just from the glass breaker. I mean, obviously from the Microtech branding, but it's iconic. I really love that. That does it for me. As Nut and Fancy says, that's second kind of cool. Now, when you clip something like this, you got a Kershaw. I mean, it's a cool Kershaw, but it is a Kershaw. So, just something to be considered. Again, price though, 154, CPM 154, not just 154 like an Emerson, but proper powderized next generation 154 in a automatic machined aluminum USA made knife for $75 versus and a hard use knife at that versus your gentlemanly, very cool collectors Microtech. This actually has XHP as the blade steel. I don't know if you can see there, but so also a good blade steel, but not going to be a hard use knife. And again, at like 250 around that ballpark. I think I've seen it online at like 215, but I've also, I think when I bought this in a store, it was like 250. And then the other thing too is you can buy these all day. You want, how many of these do you want? You could order a whole fleet of them to your door tomorrow. These these are kind of tough to come by. They don't do releases of these very often. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of some of the differences between these two California legal autos. Um, I would be thrilled to have one of these, and I think I will pick one up at some point. It would be really cool to compare some of the California legal Protects to the UTX, and then also to the Kershaw. And then I guess the last thing that I wanted to mention is um, there's a reason that I didn't pick up one of these Kershaw launches, and I did like jump out of my skin at the opportunity to buy one of these. That action, I mean, out the front versus, even though this is a really nice action, and it feels good to bust that thing open. It's just not. I don't know. I've never thought that these kind of side opening autos were anywhere near as cool as an out the front. That's just my take on it. But now that I've held this and I've handled it, I really do like it a lot. I think the finish is really nice. This matte black has a nice texture to it. It's still quite lightweight, and it just feels freaking solid. Like, it feels like that thing's not going to go anywhere. Let me see if... Yeah, and even with a clenched fist where I'm kind of pushing the button, it's not going to close on me. Yeah, you'd have to really be pushing that button. And that's the other thing. I did test, see, it's taking prints. Yeah, that's kind of greasy. Oof, I gotta clean that off afterwards. I can't give that as a gift. I did test putting this in my pocket and pushing real hard to see if it will go. Just see, it kind of like, it depressed a little bit, but it's not gonna, I mean, I'm pushing pretty hard. I got kind of a, yep. Yeah, so that's a lot of pressure. You can see how the button has been depressed here, but it's not gonna fire until you fully depress that. Then it's gonna fire. So I'm not actually worried at all about this thing popping open in my pocket. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that functionally, it's a really cool knife. Aesthetically, it's a really cool knife. Value-wise, it's a fantastic value. Probably one of the best in the knife market right now. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's just a really cool utility knife, that Kershaw launch is it's gonna thrill anybody who, anybody you show it to is gonna be like, oh my gosh, that's badass, and slightly frightening. Actually, this is more frightening than the Microtech, just because of the feel of recoil. Like, when I launch this thing, you'll see this kick sideways slightly because of the amount of force. Like there's a wiggle to it, which feels almost a little uncontrollable, but it's controllable. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the comparison. I'll come back at you with some more knife review videos before too long. Hope you guys are doing well. Have a good one. Later.